Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Motor Talk with Witzenberg. And I'll be your host tonight, Abdul Sayed, and my partner in the background there, you'll soon see, Byron Height. And tonight we have an absolutely awesome family. Well, when I say family, I mean part of the. Actually, in fact, hang on, it's probably the whole family because we just on the last minute we got Mrs. Moodley to come and say a few words as well. But we have the whole Moodley family on the show tonight, and we just named the show the Moodley Racing Heritage because everybody in that family can drive a car. And so we're in for an awesome time tonight with Mrs. Moodley, Mr. Moodley. I call him Uncle Salvan. And we have Viven, Ashlyn, and Rishay as well. So, Byron, hello to you. Thanks for being on. Well, I can't say thanks for being on the show. You're always there anyway. What can I say? And I see you have a new look. You have a new look, Byron. You look 33 years younger.
33 years younger. I'm 30. Well, I'm 35 this year, so that makes me quite young. Then,
you look like a baby.
I need my Toyota cap for a bit of color in my face.
What can I say?
Very pale over here as well. So, yeah, a bit of a new look, bit of a weird look, but I think it's going to be a great show tonight. And I hope we're going to get some good comments and some good questions on the show tonight.
Absolutely. Talk about a little bit about our sponsors there, Byron, that you always thank them for their efforts.
Always a big thank you to 435 Oils and, for bringing in some good sponsorship dollars for us as well to keep us going. That's the main thing. And BH Media, of course, that is Bevan Harris Media, for always helping us out with all the graphics and everything as well. He's been very dedicated, and what happens is keeping us going and everything. And already our first comment for the night as well coming in there from Nico Mostert, Naant alle julle petrolkoppe. And I think, Abdul,
What can I say? Well, I want to welcome our guests for tonight. You know what? My whole plan that I had for the show has gone out the door. And I'll tell you why now. Because I'm just going to introduce the Moodley family. Then I'm going to ask Uncle Salvan to talk about that Toyota Corolla. That thing sounded mean. I'm sure it had some side drafts on there. I'm not sure if it was a 3T or a 2T or that 3T with a stroker kit. So all the plans that we spoke about, Rishay, gone out the door. We started with the technical stuff, that rally car. But good evening, Uncle Salvan. Welcome to our show tonight, and the Moodley family.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Abdul and Byron.
How are you, Uncle Salvan?
I'm well. As you can see, fortunately, you can't see my tummy.
and somehow they're back again. And then we have I forgot now. It's Ashlyn or Viven. Viven, eh? Yeah.
Viven.
Viven. How are you, Viven? Welcome to the show tonight.
I'm good. Thanks for having us.
That's an absolute pleasure. I mean, I feel honored to be in company like that. I mean, I've seen you guys drive. Well, I've seen your dad race years ago. I've seen Rishay race very recently, and I'm in awe about the way just the car control is absolutely awesome. But you guys have a hell of a long story to talk about, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. And hello, Ashlyn. How are you?
Evening, gents. I'm well, thanks. And you guys?
I'm really good, and we're grateful that you guys are on the show. And the youngest of the lot, should I say the youngest of the lot, my friend Rishay there. How are you, Rishay?
Hey, Abdul, right? Thanks, man. And you?
I'm really good. I mean, thanks for all you guys being on the show. And I believe your mom is going to come and say hi a little bit later.
Yeah, she is.
Good. That's
she is here.
You know what? Oh, she's there. Well, we can say hi to Mrs. Moodley as well. Hello, Mrs. Moodley. How are you this evening?
Hi, Abdul. Byron. Hello. How are you guys?
We're really good, Mrs. Moodley. And
Thank you, Mrs. Moodley.
Well, we might as well just start with Mrs. Moodley and basically just ask Mrs. Moodley, you come from you've bred a family of motorsport crazy guys. That's what I can say. From Uncle Salvan right down to Rishay.
You can say that again. My whole life, since these guys started racing, I had to sacrifice my nights, my days, my weekends, and
Mom was a pit
No,
mechanic.
this-
She was the pit
yeah.
mechanic.
they say it's lies.
She used to change our tires.
But I had to sacrifice, and at the beginning, I wasn't really mad about racing. But
Right.
because of my family, because of my husband, and because of my sons, I sacrificed my weekends, my nights, my suppers that went cold on the table while they were working on their cars. Yes, mommy, yes, I'm coming now, and everything got cold, and then I had to come inside, warm it up again.
This isn't a
And
cooking
that's
show.
how it went.
This isn't a cooking show.
But you know
This is
what?
about
That is, you know, that
Motive.
is actually what makes everything tick. Because it was the same with me, kind of. You know, when I was working in my car, 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody had to make the food, somebody had to bring the coffee, someone had to. You know the story. But at the end of the day, it's a whole team effort, and I think you should definitely be proud of your sons, Mrs. Moodley, and especially your husband as well. And they should be mega proud of you as well, because if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be here in the first place, actually.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, I sacrificed everything. But because they were so mad about the sport, and it is a family sport, and so I just did as the Romans do,
Absolutely.
You
No,
can't
we
do
know we thank you very much. Well, from a motorsport perspective, I thank you, and I'm sure Biden's got the same feeling for actually bringing up 4 sons. I'm not sure if you actually have more children. I don't even know. But
No,
well, do you have
three sons.
do you have more? You have 4 sons. You don't have daughters or
3
more sons?
Only 3 sons and the big son here.
Yeah. When I say 4, I'm talking about Uncle Salvan as well, because it's kind of 4 children. I understand when you're in motor racing, you're a child till the day that you die, no matter how old you are. So well, thank you so much, Mrs. Moodley, for actually coming to say hello. I know the other day when I spoke to
Yeah,
Uncle
definitely,
Salvan,
but I am.
you are.
Oh,
I'm
There
very
we go.
proud of them.
Just hold on,
Absolutely.
Abdul. I think we're having some.
just a few technical difficulties, I think.
Abdul, are you there?
I can
Or
hear
is
you.
Biden still there?
Yeah, Biden
Yes,
is there as
yes.
well. Yeah.
I think whilst they try and get back on, just to look at a few of our comments that I came earlier on, of course, reminiscing about the old days. Ivan Brits says, Ek onthou died, or dida, or dida, I should rather say. And then, of course, one of our regular competitors,
Ivan
Scooby,
Brits.
Nadia Singh says, hello, everybody. Nice. Looks like the Moodleys are back.
Yeah. So Ivan Brits, I remember that name from rallying, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, guys, I'll be off.
Brits,
Good luck
yeah.
to all of you.
Back to the kitchen,
Well,
mommy.
Thank you, sir. Well, Mrs. Moodley, they say you got to go fry the samosas until the show is done so they can eat. Okay, Baden, we seem to have a few technical glitches there.
Few little technical issues, but I
Abdul, is
think
the internet connectivity on our
Yeah.
side or is it your side?
Well, I'm
seem to be all right.
on. Yeah, we seem to be okay, but it's fine. Are you back on now? I can actually see all of you and I can hear you. But maybe what you could do is, do we have ESCOM problems? Dennis Pillay. Oh my word. Well, who knows? Eh? But it's not, you know what?
Longer than this.
I kind of think is on that side, Baden, if I'm not
It might be
mistaken.
on that side. Hopefully, the Moodleys will be joining us again. So much to talk about. I think a little bit clearer now. I think a bit clearer back again.
Yeah, maybe what you could do, Rishay, is you could actually log out and log back in. Would that might make a difference, eh? Okay, Baden, maybe you might just show us a video in the meantime.
I think so. Let's start off with some of our video material for the evening. Now, if that
Oh
isn't
my word!
if that isn't hope, motorsport heaven, my friend, that let me tell you one thing: parking areas are not just for going shopping; they're for going very fast around the islands.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think yeah, the Moodleys are
Hi there,
kind of
guys.
coming back again. Yeah, Emil is sure Brackenfell Hyper days, such good times. Absolutely. Emil, I'm not sure how old you were, but I was very young when Brackenfell days, so I'm not too sure how old you were, Emil. Why don't we
Just take a look.
we
I think
we're a bit stuck here.
Abdul, you can hear us though, eh?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. So maybe what you should do is
I can see them fine.
okay, fine. Then let's just talk. It's fine. If you can see them and we can hear you, it's fine.
Abdul
Okay,
can
so
hear tomorrow.
yeah, well, there you guys are. Okay, cool. So let's just start before the internet goes down again. Okay, Mr. Moodley, so Uncle Salvan, tell us about how you actually started and when you started.
Oh, yeah. My wife's gone now, so I can tell you all about rallying. Yeah, I managed the motor scrapyard in the early 80s in Carroll, in Austria, called X-Space. And I used to hear the side drive car around the corner practically every day. And it was my late friend Neville Glenn that used to test his rally car. And then we became friends, and obviously we started helping him, sponsoring him. And one day when he finished his car, he brought it to me and he said, "Come and test drive the car," because I gave him a gearbox for his Datsun. And when I drove the car, I went down Stellenberg Road, and he said, "Put your foot down." And I floored it, and I went right towards the station, and I flipped the car and did a handbrake turn, and I came back, and he asked me, "What did you do now? Can you do it again?" And in the narrow section of Stellenberg Road, by Net Steel, I did a turn in the single lane, and he couldn't believe it. And he says, "No." From that day, he said, "You have to do rallying." So I said, "What is rallying?" So he said, "Come and have a look." And that's how I got involved in rallying through late Neville Glenn, who would have been our national champ today. Yeah, I mean, if he had the proper sponsorship, he was excellent. He was really a good driver. And so we built Datsun Triple S in the yard at KXPS with the help of Neville Glenn. And we started with the Datsun Triple S. And obviously, because I was manager of KXPS, we could access the spares easily, all backyard spares. I mean, the factories, those years, factories didn't want to know us. And I mean, they wouldn't, you could phone, it's who you knew at the factory. And nobody would help. And we would use the backyard spares from the scrapyard and build these cars. And so I built a 140Y with a 2-liter motor. And then we built a Datsun 160U Triple S. And at the start of a rally sprint in Bot River, I was at the start line when a guy came and put his hand on the wheel, and he said to me, "You are not going to rally this car." And I said, "Why?" I got a bit upset. And it was late Doc Lindsay. Doc Lindsay said, "My road car is not as nice as this. I used a 160U totally original. And I did the rally. So we were still building the car. And this guy, he said, "No ways, you can't rally this car." But anyway, we rallied the car. And so Doc Lindsay and I became quite good friends. And so that was my third rally car. But anyway, Neville Glenn introduced me to a club that I'm now a life member of, Cape Town Motorcycle Club. So I joined the club, and we used to have our meetings at Landros. And there I met all these diehard members. You still see them around today. You know, like Derek Jacobs, Robin Stanton, Eric Joseph, Eric Benjamin, all these guys, and late Nigel Wilton. They were guys with lots of experience, and they would help one another. And so that's how we used to build rally cars and exchange ideas. So it wasn't like a great competition. We were just one big family, and today, at Motorcycle Club, we're still one big family. All of us belong to this club. So Market Toyota took over Cape Spears. And when I approached one of the directors for the sponsorship, he said, "No, but you're rallying a vet and we can't sponsor you. You have to change to Toyota." And then I met up, I met up with the Britka brothers from Moe Motors.
Yeah.
And I bought my first Toyota that you saw there from Ines. And I bought actually 3 rally cars from them. The second Toyota and the BMW that Rishay is driving. All from Ines and Ibrahim Muritka. And the Conquest, Rishay. So yes, I thank them because I'm sure they would have got double the price for those rally cars that they sold to me. So I really appreciate that. By the way, that second Toyota that I bought from them, I worked for Market Toyota at that time. And I had to buy the car on HP. I couldn't afford it. Very expensive. Yeah, it was it was 8,500 rands.
About the price of a second-hand turbo today.
So I think that's what your slicks cost today.
So yeah, we bought it. I was lucky because I had all these old ralliers that used to give us advice, and I had probably the best navigators from our club. Guys like Eric Benjamin, Owen McGlynn, late Owen McGlynn, late William Salvan, and the last one was Dennis Pillay. So yeah, they actually caused me to overturn a few cars.
Yeah, it's always the navigator's fault. I agree.
We landed in a river bed over the. Oh, it was thick. And then I was also fortunate to have my service crew, like Mako Play. All the rally guys know Mako from Coke and Morgan Moodley. They were my service crew, really. And I can tell you, there's so much about rallying, I mean, so much. I don't know when you want me to stop.
We never want you to stop. I wish the show could go on for like forever. Well, maybe we're just gonna say. Maybe I should ask you a question, Mr. Moodley. So when did you actually start rallying? Which year did you start rallying? Do you still remember that?
1981. 1981, and I joined the Cape Town Motorcycle Club.
Yeah.
And so 1985, I was club champion. And I raced with some top guys. What's his name? Williams and Ben van der Ross, Malcolm Moody. They were all guys in our club, They had some nice fancy cars. Robertson, lots of guys. And then we also had a very experienced guy in our club, Sydney Heidenreich, who used to help me get the cars tuned, and he was like a fundi, He was very, very good. So we had lots of help from club members. But unfortunately, the factory didn't even bother about privateers. And, without privateers, there's no rallying, really. Today, who's running the rally scene? It's not the factories.
The privateers.
It's our privateers. So
exactly.
What did the factory do for us guys? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. It's actually that's a story for another show. We can go on about the state of motorsport, where it was and where it is, and maybe we should look at the positives and say, yes, we know where it is, but how can we take it to the next level? And I think that's something that we got to be working on, especially people like you, Uncle Salvan, with all the experience, all the knowledge, all the passion. We must maybe have a private chat and see how can we take whatever form of motorsport we involved in to the next level. So I don't want to cut your word there, Uncle Salvan, but let's go to Viven. So what is the age difference, Viven, between you and Ashlyn? And between you and Ashlyn?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay, so how old are you? How old are you actually? How old are you?
42.
42. So when you got involved with motor, how did you actually? Obviously, your dad, used to sleep in the rally car, and how did your interest actually start in motorsport, and where did it start?
I think my dad wanted to start because he's the one that pushed me into racing. I actually loved it, but I was racing on the street.
Like most of us.
He called me one day and he said, listen, you are going to kill yourself. A bit crazy. You can't drive like that on the street. You need to be on a racetrack. And he bought a racing car and he said, get in that car and go and race. And that was 1999 that I started.
Okay. And it was the rally car or a circuit car?
Track car. The only one that's done rallying was my dad.
Okay.
With a track car was a Group N Nissan Sentra.
Okay.
I think it was a 96 model or 94 model or something like that.
1400, yeah?
1400. Group N car. So sorry.
I think I remember that car. Did that car have fixer smash on the side?
Yeah.
It started off with Cape Motor Repairs.
Yes, I remember that car actually.
Then became the fixer smash car. Yellow and it was first white and grey Nissan Sentra Group N car. That was a ex-factory car at the time.
Right.
And then it became the yellow and blue fixer smash car when we changed the name and launched the business.
Okay, so you started in I would assume in Clubman's at Killarney.
In Clubman's, yes, that's correct. Class X.
Okay. Yeah. And how was you knew your daddy came from a rally background, but you got into a circuit car, and how was it for you compared to the rally car?
It was different. We always experienced the rallying, and then watching my dad, but I don't think the first car was the track car, so that's how we got into track car. We didn't get a rally car, we got a track car.
Yeah.
That
you never kind of stole your daddy's car. You never kind of stole your daddy's car and drove it when he wasn't watching or something.
Mom. Okay, yeah. Plenty of times. Stole the car, smashed the cars, curbed the cars.
Oh,
so I think that was the start of my racing. It's like, leave my car, get into your car and go drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my word, what an interesting story. Eh? Byron, maybe you must there with a couple of comments I saw. Maybe you want to just handle some of the comments there.
I saw one just come in here now from Moodley. Congratulations, guys. Don't forget Salvan, when you used to spin your vehicles in the 70s behind the Repulse Road, which is now Extension 3.
So it was Uncle Salvan that was doing that. I was, because we didn't live far. We lived very near there, actually. We actually lived. Oh, my word. Okay, wow. It's a built-up area now. That time it wasn't built up. Oh, my word. This is unbelievable. I didn't grow up very far from there. We grew up, where the Lincoln Tavern is, or Lincoln Estate.
Yes.
So, and Lawson Road. So in that area, we grew up there all the years. We lived there. Oh my word! So Uncle Salvan was the guy making the noise at night there in the car, spinning the tires and things.
So now you know we are good.
I have no problem with that because I loved it anyway. So it wasn't an issue for me. I didn't have any more comments there.
I saw something here earlier on, of course, Kirshen Moodley, well done, guys. It was always exciting watching all of you race. And then as well from Nadia Singh, Mrs. Moodley, a testament to our support behind the scenes, being just as important as those behind the wheel. Always a great shout out. And then this one from Niels van Wyk, of course, Rally Sprint for All, saying CCMCC, the most committed club.
Yeah, CC stands for committed. It is. All the C's stand for committed, or commitment, should I say. I don't know what the M stands for. Okay, so let's get on to Ashlyn there. Ashlyn, how did your racing career start? You obviously were influenced by your older brother, I would assume, or your dad.
Yeah, I started 2 years after Viven, 2001.
Okay. 2.5. Right.
Well, according to Viven, 2.5, but that was my first crawling steps. Yeah, 2001, I started racing. That's when I got behind the wheel for the first time. Right. But when started racing, that was when the family basically started Clubmans.
Okay.
So from 1999, Viven became a works driver where we work and he drives. That's the new version of a works driver.
That's lovely.
I handed my resignation as a pit mechanic in 2001. Not really, because when I was racing, he was still the works driver. Yeah, then what actually happened was we bought a second vehicle. It was the Opel Astra.
Yeah.
It was a well-prepared Clubman's car. It was a Class C car. At that point, the Sentra was a Class E car, had a 1400 motor, which was then upgraded to a 1600. But then got into the Astra. I took over the Nissan Sentra 2001. Yeah, that was, I drove that car for a while. Viven went away. Viven was overseas for just on about a year, and then I was spoiled because we had the luxury of the Astra and the Sentra at my disposal. So yeah, that was quite interesting having two cars. At one point, I was doing a half-main short circuit racing with the Sentra, and then an odd Clubman's race with the Astra. So yeah, I just hope Viven stayed away a bit longer than he actually did. But 1 year was enough, and then we got back. Yeah, with the Sentra, there's photos galore here of that car, because between Viven and I, that car we did, it was the zero car for the first All-Star Rally. The very first Fix the Smash All-Star Rally, that was the zero car. We started out in Contemans. I'm sure you guys will remember. We ended off in Capricorn Park in Witzenberg.
Okay.
So that was the zero car where Viven actually shared that drive as the zero car. Audrey Swart was our navigator. We did quite well, because at one point we thought we were competing in the event, and because the car was deep. And then after that, I actually won class championship on my birthday in 2003 in that Sentra. Doing the circuit in reverse. That was the first time in I don't know how many years that they actually did Killarney in reverse.
They've already done that.
And I think they did it once afterwards.
Yeah,
I think they've only did it once since then, since 2003, guys. So yeah, that was the highlight.
I think when that it was, I can't remember what year. When I was racing Clubmans, there was a year that we also did it the wrong way around. That was the year when Jan Kriel had a horrific accident. I don't know if you guys were that. I don't know if you were racing Clubmans that time.
That was the reason we stopped it. If I remember
Okay,
correctly.
I think it was the first. It was the first. Yeah, that's right. It's possible. It was the first wrong way around. The reverse of Killarney. Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
stopped it.
Amazing.
Turn 4.
Yeah, then there was a lot of safety upgrades that they had to do, especially with the tire barriers. At that point, we were quite involved, with Clubmans and
Yeah,
never missed a race, never missed a meeting.
yeah.
So we were all up for it. And yeah, that's, like I said, 2003, that was my highlight, my racing highlight, winning a class championship on my birthday. Other than that, we did some short circuit, did a lot of gymkhanas with that car. A little bit later on, we built a 200 SX, which was initially supposed to be a drift car.
Right.
But then the drift scheme was a bit slow. There wasn't much happening at that point. We changed the car into a Clubman's car. I had a lot of fun in there. That was a good build. That was our home build. We built that car at the workshop. We got some parts from Japan. That car was sorted. That car Terry Grant actually used when he came down. When he was the Stig for the Top Gear show.
Yeah.
He had a little show, a stunt show at Killarney on the
Okay.
main straight oval, and he used that 200 SX. So that was my second car, my last car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashlyn doesn't know that car is capable of 200.
I didn't hear you, Rishay. What did you say?
Ashlyn doesn't know that his own car was capable of doing 200. I'm telling him now.
Okay.
Again, 7 with it.
Hey,
Okay, so Rishay, coming to you. You're the youngest of, and what is the age difference between you and Ashlyn?
So it's 11 years between Ashlyn and I, and 13 between Viven and I.
Okay, so
I'm the last of the
yeah. So how did what? Obviously, I mean, I can't say how did you get into it. I mean, you were kind of born into. You were probably born in the backseat of a rally car or something. But I mean, it's not normal that everybody in the family actually gets, into motorsports. How did it happen for you?
So, Viven started in '99, but I mean, before that, when my dad was rallying, I was at every single rally event with the family. I mean, from toddler. So, I mean, it was in the blood from then already, even though I wasn't driving. I was then taught how to drive and then forced how to drive from the age of, I think, 7 years old. Viven and my dad taught me how to drive. So I was driving a car from the age of 7 years old already. And then obviously when Viven started racing in '99, then we were at the track more often. And I mean, as I was growing up, I was becoming more and more involved as the pit crew. And yeah, I just grew into it. And then when I got involved in motorsport was 2002, 2003. My dad bought me a go-kart. So that was the first time there was a Victor Smash team in the karting scene at Killarney. So we karted for about a year, I think it was. And it was at the same time when Ashlyn and Viven were both racing Clubmans. And from a cost perspective, it was more feasible and more economical to run 2 Clubmans cars than to run 1 go-kart.
160cc.
160cc go-kart. Yeah, I was 12 years old and they were racing Clubmans, and they were actually that was the year you won. 2003, Ashlyn won Class E with the Nissan Sentra, and it was cheaper to maintain that car than my 60cc go-kart.
Yeah.
So we only did it for a year, and then I didn't do anything for about 5 years. And in that time, my dad decided to get his E30 DM up and running again. That car was parked for about 15 years, if not longer. And then I navigated for him in the first old car, the first Victor Smash old car in 2009. Actually, it wasn't called a Victor Smash. It was called a Dayco Old Car Rally in 2009. And then I navigated for him, I think, 2009 and 2010. And then I took over the E30 in 2010, I'd say, end of 2010. So yeah, and then I was doing all-star rallies. I was doing Gymkhanas. I did quite a few Witzenberg Gymkhanas, Friedenberg, Fairbridge Mall, Killarney. Yeah, and then a couple of altar rallies. I had Jody Edie as my navigator. I had Warren Lawrence as my navigator as well. He's Warren Lawrence is our family navigator.
Go-to navigator.
He's our go-to navigator. He navigated for everybody except this camera, except for my father. So he must also sit with my father. But yeah, that's how I got involved. And yeah, obviously in the background there were other motorsport events and motorsport competitions and stuff that we entered. But yeah, been in the blood ever since.
Well, I just want to go back to him starting to drive. At the age of 9, I was teaching him how to drive. At the age of 9, I went to the yard and I was looking for my car. And my mother didn't know what happened to the car, and then we realized that Rishay is not around. And 5 minutes later, I got a call from my cousin to say that he pulled up at the house with my car.
Oh my word!
Yeah, so I had to go and fetch my car.
9 years old.
9 years old. 9.
The 180 GS.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I must be honest. If I look at the three of you, Rishay looks like the one that's not even the naughty one. I mean,
thank you.
He's not. He doesn't look like that one, but he kind of is the most mischievous one of the lot. I mean, 9 years old, still in the car and driving to his cousin.
He started early and stopped early.
He hides it well.
Oh my word, Byron, do you have some more comments you want to look at, or maybe a video you can throw up?
I think a video would be a good idea. I think a great video would be great.
Perfect.
We're rally and Gymkhana.
Is that Rishay? Is that you driving the car or your dad?
That is me.
Oh my word! You know, you give me goosebumps. When I saw you at I used to watch you at the altar, and I just knew that, you know, it was just amazing. The way your car control is absolutely brilliant. Oh, what can I say? You guys taught him well.
My navigator in that video was Lavin.
Sorry, that last comment, Dave, that was from his wife. The one that said 9-year-old Rishay. That's Rishay's wife.
So we're not too sure what she means by that. Eh? Is he still 9 years old, or we're not too sure? But what I can say is,
I think she was asking why I didn't come when I was 9 years old.
But what I can tell you, Rishay, is at the last Gymkhana, your wife was your navigator.
Yes.
And you should keep her as a navigator, because they say that's the best therapy for a married couple, a Gymkhana. Yes, if you can survive a Gymkhana, your marriage will last forever.
See you on the 15th of May.
Absolutely. Okay, so coming back to, I mean, I remember the Fixer Smash altar rallies. I also remember the Fixer Smash Clubman's team. So maybe you guys can all talk a little bit about, obviously that time your dad was still in the business. Talk us a little bit through that. I mean, you know, through that era of your guys, you know, when you guys were sponsoring the Fixer Smash altar rallies and those type of things.
What year did you
Okay. I can just say how it started. We were spectating a rally somewhere in the Boonders, and guys like Robin Santon, Derek Benjamin, Derek Jacobs, we were all together, and they were talking about this altar rally. And I made a joke after a few drinks, and I said, you know what? Give me the altar rally. Give it to me. I'll handle it. And they said, I said, no, we'll take it and we'll run it. And I forgot about it. And a couple of days later, Tony, our chairman, Tony Hardenberg, he's overseas now. He phoned me and he says, hey, listen, we need to come and talk to you. I said, yeah, okay, what's it about? He said, about the Altar rally. Hey, yeah, I did say something. So I couldn't go against my word, and they came to sit and we spoke, and I said, and that's how we started. And we really enjoyed it because we had a lot of co-sponsors that came in with us. And it was actually very nice organizing that. So it worked out very well, and we had quite a good turnout. I enjoyed being part of the organizing of that. The others can comment.
You know, I just want to say something. I just want to say something before one of you say something. You know, I've seen so many comments here, and it makes me so proud of you guys that everybody says that the Moodley family has been an inspiration to very many racing drivers in various different disciplines of motorsport. And that is so awesome. And, you know, it was just, it makes me so happy to see that as a family, you guys have made a huge difference, you know, in motorsport. And I'm so glad that, you know, especially Rishay at the last Gymkhana, you know, the whole family was there. I think only one of you were not there, but I remember I still met Uncle Salvan there. Rishay was there. And I'm not too sure who of the two, Ashlyn or Viven. One of them were there, I know.
It was my anniversary.
Oh yes, correct. Well, you must get your priorities straight, please.
Tell it.
No. The anniversary is the priority. I mean that, okay? Not the racing. we've been through that already many times. So I'm glad that, you know, we kind of revived that little passion for you, you know, even if it's on a small scale with the Gymkhanas, but it's so nice to have you guys back. And that's one of the reasons why I asked you guys to come on the show, because I know for me, I was a youngster. I used to watch your dad do a rally in Brackenfell in the parking lot. And, you know, those were the days of the rally. I mean, my dream was to have a rally car. I just could never afford it. But it was an inspiration all along. So maybe I also remember, or maybe Viven and Ashlyn must also talk about the Clubman's Fixer Smash team there. And, you know, I believe 1 year you guys won with the best team for 1 year in Clubman's.
We were the Fixer Smash. We were the team of the year in 2002.
Okay.
I think that time we had about 6 Fixer Smash cars.
Oh,
there were six Fixer Smash cars that we looked after. The panel shop looked after.
Yeah.
It was Gerard Clement, Andre Vermaak, Mark Elizov, the two of us, Dirk Kruger.
Dirkie as well. Yes, I remember Dirkie as well. Yeah.
We were part of the Fixer Smash team, and we won Team of the Year in 2002.
Amazing.
That was the same year I left to London, so Ashlyn could make use of my car.
Which you did.
Yeah, and then I was back after that, and then still drove the Astra for a bit. Got a Nissan Primera, which you can see in the background there. That was a ex-pro car, 2-liter 16 valve, which I drove for 3 years. And then it wasn't fast enough, so you had to fiddle with the engine, do turbocharging. And yeah, that was my racing with Primera. But the Fixer Smash team was, I mean, my dad really put in a lot of work there to keep the 6 cars going.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody knew us at Killarney. We were probably the biggest team at Killarney at the time. And you know, we got on with everybody. It was very just an enjoyable time for us. There was no politics in racing. I mean, it was easy. Everybody got on with each other. Very, very nice. But as you said, the other reason we got into Clubman's was rallying was too expensive, like you said earlier. I think that's why I didn't get into a rally car. It was cheaper to get into a Clubman's car.
Well, that's the reason why I got out of Clubman's, because Clubman's became too expensive. Crazy. I mean, can you believe it? Uncle
My
Salvan?
sons, I say my sons didn't want to listen to me. I told him, I said, you first get your rally car and all your steers before marriage. They got married.
I'm not gonna go down that road, Uncle Salvan, because the next time their wives see me at the track, I'm a dead man. So I'm not gonna go down that road. Yeah, no, you know what?
But you're gonna see 2 more cars at the Gymkhanas.
Do you know what?
We're busy working on it. We're busy working on it.
That is so beautiful. But more importantly for me is I want to see the family. I want to see your mom there. I want to see your wives there. We want to see your kids. Okay, with obviously with COVID is a bit difficult now. But what I'm saying is that is what we need to recreate in motorsport. Is that family effect? You know, where we can come and play with our cars. There's no red tape. There's no politics. You know, it's relatively inexpensive to get in. So Byron, maybe you must just enlighten us a bit. I've seen a million comments. I don't know where to start.
Well, I have one over here that I've been dying to bring up, and it's from Kubi Peshapa, and he says, "Congrats, guys! Salvan, remember in 1984 when you blew the gearbox up by Ford Escort?"
Okay. We want to hear that story, Uncle Salvan. We want to hear that story.
That's my youngest brother from Durban.
Okay.
So he came to Cape Town with his 1600 Sport Escort. And I was with the Market Motor Group at that time. And I convinced him to trade the car in and buy a Toyota Cressida 3T automatic.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you won't kill this car, the 3T motor, because I was rallying a Toyota at that time.
Yeah, it's 1800.
The 3T.
Yeah, the 1800. Yeah.
LS. So he went in and we went to in College Road, got a good trade in, and he did the deal. And so the car was traded, but we still had the car because he had to collect his Cressida the following morning. And so I said to him, come on, we'll go down to Indiana. We took his Escort and we went in form at Indiana, Clipperton Road.
Yeah.
And
I know where that is.
And so we had to push the car back home. Next morning, put in a second-hand gearbox. And but anyway, he got his car, so he went back. But I actually forgot about that. But Kobe, thank you. I remember that very clearly. Thanks.
You know, Byron, take us through that last comment there by Gerard. That is so heartwarming.
This one over here, Gerard Clements. Uncle Salvan was known as Father Christmas to all the racing guys, always helping or sponsoring everyone. Love his big heart.
Amazing. So Uncle Salvan, I'm extending a personal invitation to you. I would love to see you at all the Gymkhanas if you can. Your presence makes a huge difference to everybody. So that's just the least we can do to honor you as, you know, someone that has taken motorsport, or influence a lot of people in motorsport. So coming back to I don't know what happened to the Moodleys. They kind of, can you see them, Byron?
I can see them. They're relatively big.
Okay, cool. So maybe the next thing is that I remember that there was a VW was doing a talent search for young drivers, but if I remember correctly, 2 of the brothers ended up at different times, obviously, with VW. So I'm not too sure if it was Viven or Ashlyn. I know Rishay was there. I definitely know that. But who else was it? Was it Viven?
Yeah. I did that in 2001.
Okay, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was in Port Elizabeth at Scribante Raceway.
Okay.
It was Terry Moss was running the VW team at the time.
Okay.
So we went up for the VW. That was the initial VW driver search. You can see Chap Sepuka, Terry Moss, Ibrahim Levy on the right hand side, Satar Osman, Miguel Pasquale behind me. We all went up from Cape Town.
Viven, give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
You know,
no
Sattar
problem.
and Miguel and Ibrahim were still very handsome in those days. What happened to them now?
They got married as well.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get a call from Miguel after, and he's gonna definitely swear at me. I know Miguel. Sattar is a bit more refined. He probably just send me a WhatsApp and say, "How can you say that?"
No, I had good times. I had good times racing with those guys.
Well, take us through that. Take us through that.
So we went up for the weekend. It was a complete driver search. We went to a complete development thing. So we went to Terry Moss's workshop, where he ran his racing team from his house. They obviously showed us around, how the car, how they operated and how they did things. And then they put us in a city golf, quite a sorted city golf, not too modified, just like a little bit. And Michael Stephen at the time was their driver. So they put him in the car and they told him, right, he must go and set the benchmark.
Right.
And we all went out and we were all half a second quicker than Michael Stephen.
Very interesting.
So,
yeah.
Terry Moss cut the driver's search shorter by 1 day. It was supposed to be a 3-day driver's search.
It was quite a eventful weekend. Learned a lot there. They taught us a lot. Unfortunately, never got it. I don't think any one of us made it. Not Ibrahim Levy, not Sattar, Miguel. Morne Peterson got the drive, I think it was. And then Miguel raced afterwards. I think he got into the Polo Cup a few years later.
Yeah, that's correct.
But it was quite informative. It was a good experience.
Yeah. And Miguel's termination in the Polo Cup was another story. Should I just leave it at that? I don't want to get involved with that. Because, what can I say? Sad state of affairs, eh? Yeah, too much politics, and it's not good for the sport.
No. What you're doing is good. I mean, it's simple, it's easy, it's fun. Everybody goes home happy, and that's why we want to get and join, become part of it.
No, I think it's important because we got to go back to the the minute money becomes the minute money gets involved, then people do it for the wrong reasons. And if you do it for the passion of motorsport, it will grow. Absolutely. Rishay, just take us a little bit through then obviously a couple of years later, you got chosen to do the driver also with VW. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So 20. There's a funny comment here from Junaid. Yes, Junaid, let's do it. Challenge accepted.
I just want to comment on that.
Yeah, so before I get into the driver's seat, before I forget, you're talking about the car husband. That's after that Ashlyn was talking about. But for that event race, it became my race car, and then we sold it, and the car husband actually owns that car right now. He owns the same car that we you know that? It's the same Astra. Yeah.
Now, can you do me a favor, Rishay? Before I give Sattar a call, can you ask him to bring that car out of hiding or wherever it is and come and drive Gymkhana with that car? I remember the Astra, because before the Astra, you drove the Sentra, am I correct?
The blue Sentra.
The blue Sentra, yeah.
Yes. So you see, Gymkhana is not like circuit racing. You can come and on a Saturday afternoon, you can come and have fun. Your wife's not going to kill you. It's not a lot of work. So you can put that car out of the garage there, wash the car and come and drive Gymkhana. This is nonsense.
Yeah, we'll tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was saying, so 2016, there was a bulletin that came out that Volkswagen was looking for a driver to join their team. It was not long after Gugu Zulu passed away.
Yeah.
And they were accepting applications, and I mean, I didn't realize that the application was just a normal, it was a piece of paper that you had to fill out. I put together a whole PowerPoint presentation with pictures of my motorsport history, with pictures of my dad's motorsport history, and it was a whole thing. And anyway, I got selected out of quite a few applications. It was a top 16 that got selected to go up to Joburg. And we flew up to Joburg. I was very chuffed about that. And it happened, it was sort of like a round robin exercise. So we had a lot of training. It wasn't only about driving, it was about your physical how strong you are, how fit you are. You had to do beep tests. We had to take our fitness clothes with our running shoes, and they interviewed us. They wanted to know about our personality, and it was you had to be like a all rounder pretty much.
Yeah.
It was the entire package. Yeah. So on day 2 we only got to drive, and at the end of day 2 they did announce that 8 of the 16 would go through to the following round, and that 8 would then come back to Joburg about 2 months later. So I was lucky enough to be part of that top 8 as well. I got flown back to Joburg 2 months later, of which we did another 2 days, and then after the 2 days, they announced the top 4, and the top 4 had to stay behind. And the top 4 was Jonathan Bogotsi, who drives for Volkswagen Motorsport now. He drives in GTC. It was Ryan Roeder, it was Ethan Good, and myself. So I made it into the top 4 as well. And we went to Red Star Raceway, and then they gave us 4 Polo race cars at Red Star Raceway, Polo TSIs, stock standard Polo TSIs. And they made us do some laps at Red Star Raceway, and then they announced the top 2 there. Unfortunately, I didn't make it into the top 2, but that was it was an experience and a half. The amount of knowledge that I gained from that driver search with Mike Rowe. I mean, I was like having dinner with Mike Rowe and Steve Harding and chatting to all these like iconic motorsport legends. It was really, really something else. Wayne Riddell gave me such nice advice I wouldn't forget at Red Star Raceway. It was really, really an amazing experience to be a part of that.
Are you talking about Mike Rowe, whose son raced in GTC last year?
Yeah, Daniel's father. Mike Rowe's the head of VW Motor.
Yeah. So it's amazing. You know what? I have a question for you guys. So, I mean, you guys are really good at what you do. I mean, you guys are talented. And why are you not further in motorsport than where you're supposed to be? What are the reasons that you think it is?
Because we don't have uncles that work in the factory.
We don't have uncles in the furniture business.
Surnames are wrong, probably.
I want Uncle Salvan just to say that again, because it was a bit. I couldn't hear it, so just say it again, Uncle Salvan. What you said now?
I say we have wrong surname to get factory sponsorship. Am I right in saying that?
And we don't
Yeah.
have uncles in
And we don't have any uncles in the
furniture business.
motorsport business.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, well, definitely Rishay. I mean, I've seen him drive, right? He's the youngest, and I mean, and the only reason I can say is you are not where you are supposed to be in motorsport is because of money or resources, or not necessarily money, but resources. And it's actually quite sad. It's actually quite sad. Byron, do you have any comments there or anything you want to take us through?
I do have one that I saw you earlier on, and it was from Gerard again, Gerard Clements. He said, well, when Viven was 14 and Ashlyn was 12, they took their dad's Mazda 323 and drove into a concrete wall due to Ashlyn pulling up the handbrake. Was driving, and I got the brunt of it.
Okay, who's gonna tell us that story? I hope your mom's not listening.
Somebody stick it.
Okay, sorry. Gerard is just as mischievous.
Yeah.
He's a very naughty lad.
Who is this? Viven or Ashlyn?
Gerard was in
Gerard.
commented was
Yes.
also part of the team.
And he was the
Oh.
podcast.
Gerard's first race was the race where there was a massive accident. Can you remember that? It happened.
There were like 20 cars.
No, the one where there were like 20 or 30 cars involved. Yeah. That was Gerard's first captain's race. I remember that.
Oh my word. Oh my word.
Yeah.
So he's just as mischievous as the Moodley brothers, eh? There was a comment that I actually want to just touch on. It said there, if I remember correctly, which of the 4 or was it 3 brothers or the 4? Yeah, Byron, just go back to that comment.
I'm going to go take a look through all the
Nice way.
comments.
I think it was from Junaid.
Yes, from Rishay Junaid. Yes, that's right. So I have a little bit of a yeah. There's it. Who was the fastest of the 4? Can we get a lap time challenge? I've got a suggestion. Maybe at the next Gymkhana, we take that BMW that Rishay was throwing around the other day, and put each of those 4 Moodleys into that car and see who does the fastest time. Wouldn't that be a good idea, Byron?
I second that motion, Abdul. I think that would be something to see. Definitely.
What do you guys say? What do you guys say? Let's hear from the Moodleys there.
I'll just be happy to get on the track again. So
okay.
Look, behind the scenes, we've obviously been talking about making some sort of a comeback.
Right.
Ultimately, our goal is to enter a car in a 3-hour endurance race in Port Elizabeth. We've done, between the family, we've probably done about 5 or 6 of those, and
Brilliant.
2 or 3 at Killarney. My dad, and myself have shared a car at Killarney. That was the Opel Astra.
3 hours.
That was a 3-hour enduro, and there wasn't much time. Even Dad, without much track experience, and 30 years later behind the wheel, he wasn't far off our pace. It was like a second or something, sometimes less than a second.
Right.
So behind the scenes, we are planning something where the 3 of us will definitely get behind the same vehicle, and our aim is to share a car in a 3-hour enduro.
Brilliant.
Between the 3 brothers.
I've done a couple of those ones. The ones in PE was I enjoyed Scribanti. It's a very technical track.
Yeah.
And what is this? Unfair challenge to Rishay needs to be an unknown
I
car.
agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So hang on. Yes. Okay. That's actually true. I mean, I agree there. So yes, we'll think of a plan. Don't worry. But the invitation is open. We're gonna get one car that all 4 of you can drive, and we might put a little twist in it where we can swap navigators around, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll see.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting.
I hope somebody's listening from Killarney. So
so maybe I like the idea that you guys are coming back as a family, and that to me is what motorsport was all about. Even clubmans in the old days, I remember, we used to come and camp out there early in the morning, sometimes the previous night. Used to camp out, used to braai the whole day. That's kind of how we grew up in motorsport. And I don't think it's ever going to be the same because of what's happening around the world today. But we can kind of get it back to that, kind of get the family back there, and make it something to look forward to. But coming back to motorsport, I mean, you guys have had a lot of influence over all your years in racing. I mean, you guys involved in sponsorship, you're involved in clubmans, rallying, gymkhanas, you name it. But where motorsport is today is not in a good space. And forget what happened. I say, what do you guys suggest that can be done to get it back, into the hub, the hype of where it was in the old days? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys can give some feedback on that.
We're giving this one to Ashlyn.
Yeah, Abdul. I actually remember you liking a post that I shared a couple of weeks back. It was a race with Nigel Mansell and Harry Ravenpera and quite a few all well-known rally and track legends.
Yes,
and
those old cars.
The cars that they were racing was 110 brake horsepower or 120 brake horsepower cars. I can't even remember. I think it was a Skoda.
Yes, I remember.
And
I watched the whole race.
The commentator mentions in his commentary that he mentions the power output on those cars. Now, you've been involved in motorsport all your life. I actually compared it to the VW City Golf race at Killarney, where they had our local motorsport legends all in City Golfs.
Right.
Sudhir, he drove as well in that race. And my comment on Facebook, and this is actually what I wanted, and I'm actually glad you asked that question. is that spectators don't know lap times. Spectators want to see good racing. They want to see bumper to bumper racing. They want to see challenges. They want to see a little bit of rubbing is racing. And it's just some sort of excitement in the sport. And we can get motorsport down to the formula of Group N, the real Group N, where it's as close to standard as possible with some modifications to your suspension, but keep it cheap. Keep it cheap. Like I said, if you got similar matched cars, your racing will be good.
Absolutely.
The checkbook racing needs to disappear from motorsport. And you can see the factories do it. They make that same cycle and the same mistakes over and over and over. They start at Group N. They basically out-budget themselves and they make that loop and they get back down to as close to standard as possible. And then as things pick up again, they do the same thing and over and over and over. Just bring the cost of racing down, get more people involved, get the numbers up, get the spectators up. Motorsport will be on its way up again.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at even Formula One, even from the premier form of racing, they've cut the budgets. And immediately when they cut the budgets, Mercedes and the Red Bulls are close to each other.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
It's more entertaining.
Exactly. So if that's happening in that form of motorsport, then we should take heed and look at these factors, because cost is a huge factor. And you know what? The days that motorsport is an elitist sport should actually disappear, because there's loads of talent out there. And the fallacy that motorsport development is only for drivers is not true. I mean, there's many other facets and aspects of motorsport that development drivers or development teams can get involved in. I mean, at the last Gymkhana, if you remember, Rishay, right next to you, there was the Northlink College team standing.
Yeah.
And I was so excited because I spoke to the gentleman, Mr. Maggot. I said, I'm gonna have a meeting with you, because that is what motorsport development is about. You come with a team of students that built their own car, but there's a whole lot of other aspects that actually goes with that. So that is important. And maybe I'm gonna hear from your dad. Maybe your dad has been in racing forever. Maybe he can give us some perspective on that as well. Uncle Salvan?
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, those years it was very, very difficult without sponsorship. As I said, we built cars in our backyards. So what you guys are doing, Abdul, Byron, Patrick, Clint, with these cat shows, it's gonna make a difference. It's going to make a difference, because there are people with competition parts lying around that can offer our youngsters and say, yeah, I've got this, I've got that. So I admire you guys, and we all got to do what we have to do. What else?
I just want to say the racing is spectator driven. It's a spectator sport. We need the numbers there. I mean, Killarney will be nothing without the numbers. And simple racing is the best racing. I mean, cars sliding around because they've got 165 or 175 13s or whatever the case is, and they're all the same. That is racing. That's whether they're doing 80 kilometers per hour or 200 kilometers, there's a race happening.
Correct.
And that's what spectators want to see. They want to see the rubbing, the knocking, the passing, the outbraking. Now you've got one car in front. 3 seconds later, there's another car. That's why Killarney's not busy anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
Simple question. Anybody watch MotoGP over the weekend? What was a better race, MotoGP 3 or MotoGP?
Yeah, of course.
MotoGP 3 had, I think, the first 14 cars in under a second or just over a second or something silly. So
it's like going to a national at Killarney, and with an invite to the regional group. Like if Clubman's is invited to a national, everybody waits until the national series is done to watch Clubman's at 5:30 in the afternoon, and then everybody goes home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It comes down to that, yeah.
Okay, Byron, do you have another video there by any chance? I can't remember.
I do have another video, yes. So we can Sit up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Uncle Salvan, I'm every time I see those rear-wheel drive Toyotas, I'm actually quite, I don't know, excited. Maybe I'm gonna build me a rear-wheel drive car for Gymkhana. I don't know. I remember the days with those, the 3Ts and the 2Ts with the side drums on, and oh my word, it was awesome. I mean, it was really awesome. I mean, was that car the 1600? Was that car the 1600, Uncle Salvan, or the 1800? The one that Corolla that you were driving there?
Yeah, that was a secret that we learned at the factory building. They were taking a 2TB block
Yes.
and putting a 3T crank in it for that extra stroke.
So you took a 2TB block, which was the 1600 block, but the one with the strengthened 1600, and they put an 1800 crank in it.
That block could take a 3T crank. And that was a secret. We heard afterwards through one of the factory guys. So we were doing that. And our good friend Dirk Kruger was very good at that.
Yeah.
And, Louis used to help us. That car that you saw now used to belong to Dennis of Marvel.
All our cars belong to Ines
All three
Maruka.
cars, all the rally cars.
So, yeah, it's that car that won me the Cup Championship in 1985. We finished every rally in that car, every rally.
Amazing.
One of the rallies, I see Mike Nathan asked, which was memorable car.
Yeah, Salvan, what was your most memorable rally, and which car was your favorite? Tell us, Uncle Salvan.
Both those Toyotas. That one, the 1600. We started a rally at Sonesta. It was a total auto trial in the 80s. And at the start of the rally, we had to fill out a questionnaire. And one of the questions asked was best position ever. And I found out upside down. And so the guy at the start line, the Total Autumn Trial was one of the rallies in Cape Town. It was where families used to book in at Sonesta.
Yeah.
And it was really a family thing. And Ashlyn and his wife, they were about 4 or 5 years old. They used to play around. And Ashlyn's father-in-law, Michael Kraywagen of M&L Panel Beaters, was also a great sponsor. He sponsored Neville Glenn. So at the start of the rally, they announced the driver Salvan Moodley, navigator Dennis Pillay, best position upside down. Everybody laughed. And off we went. And the Sonesta rally started on a Friday night at 10 p.m. So we left, and 4 o'clock the next morning, we were laying 5th, and we were fighting for 4th position. We were about a couple of seconds, and we were really going all out. And I said to Dennis, we must make up this extra spot now. And it was the second last stage. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, and as I changed from 5th to 4th, as I took this car. It was at high speed, and the left rear fender caught a sandbag. Just a little nudge, and the car flipped in the air just like that. It flipped and it slid. And the road was, it was raining, and the car just slid, and it stopped after a few seconds. And we had to get out. And my friend Dennis Pillay, poor guy, he put his hand on the roll bar. And as the car went down, I didn't realize his finger was stuck between the roll bar and the roof.
And the
I
roof,
got
yeah.
out. First thing, we had to run out triangles and flag the next car down, because
Yeah.
it was basically on a straight where I flipped. So the cars were coming at high speed, and we had to flag this car. And I see the car coming. I took my triangle and waved, and eventually got the car. So luckily there were some farm laborers still awake. They helped us put the car back on its roof, and we carried on. We finished the rally. And when
Oh,
we
my
got
word.
to Sonesta, the roof was skew without a windscreen, and it was raining, and everybody started laughing, upside down. And that was one of the rallies that I won't forget.
Just a quick
But-
question: was Dennis still stuck in between the roll cage and the? When you...
When I started rallying in the 80s, I rallied a Datsun Triple S.
Yeah.
So we did a rally, and it was a Saturday afternoon, coming towards the end of the rally, and my head gasket blew. And driving out, we got out of the special stage in the open section. One of our service crew guys, late Ike Hoffman, was driving a Datsun 180U Triple S. It was a white car with a black vinyl. And so I just pulled up there. I said, Ike, take your stuff out of the car. I pulled the stickers off the car, put it on the door, and we drove. Datsun 180U Triple S. And we drove. We got into the stage, and we see how this car, the 180, it's going better than my rally car. We were enjoying it, and we get to the end of that stage, and a guy comes to me furious. That was late Howard Thatcher. And he said, you are out of this rally. Why? He said, you swapped cars. But I didn't know that you weren't allowed to swap.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just started there. I said, so what's the deal? I'm doing the rally. He said, no, you're not allowed to swap cars. So I said, okay, but I want to finish the rally. So I finished the rally. Obviously, I was barred. I was disqualified. But
Yeah.
we finished the rally. So, but what I'm saying is, I didn't know that we
Yeah.
weren't.
I just wanna, Byron, there was 2 comments about Mani Amle. I can't believe Mani actually posted some comments. He's the most quietest guy I know.
Nothing in the rally.
Take a look.
Oh yeah. You're right. I haven't. Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. Okay, so Byron, how much time do we have left, Byron?
I think we can do about another 10 minutes or so. I've
Okay,
got
well, maybe
just
we can just, yeah, you got a few comments you want to just go through there
just
quickly?
this one over here that I saw earlier on from Deirdre Clemens. Ash, hopefully you don't disappear before qualifying at the 3-hour endurance. Spare wheel and tools left in the boot whilst qualifying. So much fun.
Ashlyn, tell us about that story, please, if it's okay.
Guys, I'm out of here.
Okay. No pressure.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Simon.
Yeah, that was one of the enduros. Viven was away. If Viven was still here, we wouldn't have made it to the racetrack. Myself, Gerald Clemens, and my dad, we entered the 3-hour enduro. We took a trailer up. The trailer was towed up. My dad towed the trailer up. We were all in a different vehicle. We stayed apart from each other, but I had the keys for the chain and the trailer's locks with me. When we loaded the centers onto the truck, we put the wheels at the back of. We used the center as loading capacity as well. So we had wheels at the back and tools, and we had the chain running through the tires, chained up, basically locked in the car. And when we got to the track, I had forgotten the keys of the lock for the chain and the trailer, the spares in the trailer, and we were running a bit late, so we were in a rush. Had a late morning for the alarm clocks in Port Elizabeth. They don't work for some other reason. So we ran a bit late. Yeah, so I had to qualify that morning, rushed off, putting my overall on. They were busy pumping up wheels. Luckily, we had slicks on the car, so the wheels that was in the vehicle was spare wheels. And I qualified with the spare wheels, about 4 tires, a chain, a toolbox, everything in the car, and that was the quickest time of the day. That qualifying lap was our quickest time for the day. So yeah, no, that's memories. Thanks, Deirdre. I must add to that Dad wasn't too happy. He almost packed up and drove back to Cape Town that very morning before qualifying. Yeah, I want to publicly apologize to.
I think Gerard was the instigator there.
Once
Gerard
again.
Clemens, once again, he was the instigator. These guys, we went to Port Elizabeth to the McDonald's. They went to a club and they got back to the hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning. And late. So yeah, I wasn't speaking to Ashlyn for a couple of days after that.
There's so many comments. Satar posted a comment now about the three, well, you guys being like his brothers, and Nishad as well, Marutka. Mr. Salvan is a legend. His sons are like my brothers. That's Satar. And then I saw another one from Nishad Marutka, whose dad was supposed to be on the show. Yeah, they're well done, Team Moodley. I'm making my dad watch. He has a huge smile on his face. And his dad was supposed to be on the show, but his dad took ill that time, and we kind of haven't found a suitable time to actually get him back on the show. But maybe I've got an idea. Maybe we must get Uncle Ines back on the show with Uncle Salvan and Uncle Derek, because that'll be a nice combination. And maybe Dennis Pillay as well, because he seems to be, well, he was so maybe a show with those 4 would be actually quite interesting. Or maybe I'm going to ask Patrick to do a show like that, because Patrick loves his rallying. I mean, he knows everything about rallying. He's like the Google of rallying. So maybe that would be a nice show. Ines Marutka and Salvan Moodley, Dennis Pillay, and Derek Benjamin. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
It can work, yeah. Look, Ines Marutka is a legend. He is, he drove very well and his cars were immaculate. I lived in Tesson Road in the early 80s, and Ines used to live in Forbes Avenue.
Yeah.
And one Saturday morning, I went past and I saw this Toyota Corolla full of mud. Obviously, they did the autumn trial, and that was before my time. And I walked around this car, and I'm sure Ines must have been asleep that Saturday morning. I checked this car out, and I said, oh, look at these tires that look inside. I didn't even know what the odor was.
Yeah.
I peeped, hoping nobody would see me. I was so inquisitive. And I think this belongs to one of Ines's cars.
Oh my word! I don't think they use those things anymore. What do they use nowadays?
This was in Nishad.
Oh my word!
It's Bluetooth, eh?
And so I owned that Toyota afterwards. I want to tell you one thing about Ibrahim Rutka, Ines's brother. I was at the workshop one afternoon, and Ibrahim called me and he asked me, he said, Salvan, have you got a car trailer? I didn't have a car trailer. My friend Gunter and Ebi Drotsky's, they had a car trailer. So I said, yes, I can organize one. You need one. So he said, can you bring it to my workshop? I said, yes, I can. When do you need it? Can you come now? I said, yeah, okay, I can drop. How long are you going to use it for? So he said, no, you can take it back with you. That was from Ibrahim. I said, what do you mean? He said, come and fetch your BM. That's a BM that Rishay.
Yeah.
And that BM has a lot of history. It was built by Owen Ashley. I don't know if you remember Abdul. Baron may know, but Patrick Patrick from Mark knows that car.
I remember
And,
on
it was
Ashley, yeah.
and I didn't even think that I would own that car one day. And Ibrahim just told me, come and fetch it. But we didn't discuss price, nothing. They
Yeah.
were so fed up and they wanted me to own that car. So I said, anyway, he insisted, just bring the trailer and take this car away. We'll talk later. So I went and I picked up my friend Morgan Moodley. He used to work for Metal Box in Epping. I phoned him up. I said, I'm going to fetch the BM. He said, yes, I'm ready. He was waiting outside, picked him up. We got here, the trailer was outside, and I went to Ibrahim. I said, Ibrahim, can we go to your office? And yeah. He said, no, just park the trailer, let them load it up. But we haven't discussed price, nothing. He said, just take the car, we'll sort out money afterwards. And that's how I bought that car.
Amazing.
That's how I bought that car from Moodley, yeah. So I own.
Uncle Salvan, how about this? I just had an idea now. Byron, maybe you can help me out here. Imagine we had at a Gymkhana, we had Uncle Salvan driving a car, and Ines Maruka driving a car, and Derek Benjamin driving a car. All the guys that, from the old days when we were pickies.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get.
And we got Amin Levy also.
Come on, let us, Rishay and the young Moodleys, let us put something together. Let's think about this idea. We have a Gymkhana dedicated to all the legends in motorsport. What about that? Maybe not the 15th, but maybe the one after that or something. Come on, let's put our minds in. This will be such an awesome. It'll be so awesome just to see them back in a car.
Are you sure your surname is not Moodley because it's just as crazy?
No, I'm not. Well, we all kind of have petrol in our veins, I would assume. So that would be really awesome. Just imagine all those, all the I can only say the wise people, the ones, the generation before us. Let us get them to the track one day, put them in a Gymkhana car, let them have a huge fun. No, I don't agree with Nishad. What do you mean call 911? Come on, your dad will outdrive you, Nishad. I promise you. Come on.
Abdul, do you get automatic rally cars?
Well, you know what? Maybe I need to go and speak to one of the manufacturers, maybe Toyota or something. Get them to give us one car, or maybe a couple of cars. Not give it to us just for the day, and let's get some serious, legends into those cars. That would be an awesome day. I don't know, Byron. What do you think? What do you say about that, Byron?
Well, I think this comment says it all.
No way. I don't agree with Mani at all. I don't agree.
Anything with a motor and wheel, in my mind, you just go for it, eh? Anything. And it's race-worthy.
We're gonna put something together. We're gonna put something together. Really. I need more names. I don't know all the old guys. I mean, we're gonna put something together. Come on, Byron. We're gonna put our heads together. Anyhow, we don't have much time left. Do we have any more stories that we can talk about the Uncle Salvan or maybe the young Woodleys?
I saw a picture of Amla's car, the lift factory bought from Ines.
Yes.
And it was so sad to see that car burning at the back of Killarney.
Yeah.
What a beautiful car. But, yeah.
Okay.
This one piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Earlier on, from Dennis Pillay, the Corolla 2T was the most successful of all Salvan rally cars, 2T block and 3T crank.
Absolutely. The only difference, if I remember, the 2T, you could rev it quite high because it was a 1600. The 3T was a 1800 and you couldn't rev it too high, just to throw rods. I remember that. I had the same combination in my old car, but it was an awesome little machine. It had a lot of torque, the one with the 3T crank, if I can remember correctly in those days. But just in closing, Uncle Salvan, you, Viven, Ashlyn, and Rishay, give us some of your, maybe just for youngsters that want to get into motorsport, anybody for that matter, not youngsters per se, but anybody. Give us some, something to take home, something that we can use, and it can, in our lives, in our motorsport careers or whatever. Just give us some advice, some ideas that we can take forward. What do you guys think? Just in closing, let's start with Uncle Salvan.
I think if the youngsters join a club, join a rally club, there's so much of expertise, so much of advice you can get, and you can start off cheaply with a car of your choice. And you have to get started somewhere. And with shows like this, already now my sons are all itchy bums here. They want to get started with their rallying. Yeah, I'm not a track guy. I don't know how to race on the track. But, I don't know. Who are better drivers, rally drivers or track drivers? Abdul?
Is the time not up now?
Well,
trouble you.
I'm not gonna get myself into that one. So let's have the competition. Let us set it up. We get the rally drivers versus the track drivers in a car, in a gymkhana. Because the gymkhana is kind of a little bit of both. Wouldn't
I'm a
it be a good idea? Uncle Salvan, we are definitely going to put something together. Rally drivers versus the track drivers, which means, Uncle Salvan, you're going to be driving against your sons, which will be quite interesting here. I love it. I just love this.
We've been against one another for many, many years.
Viven, just in closing, what are your, give us some of your insight.
Yeah, I agree with my dad. Start off, just make a start, get the car there, even if it's the slowest car, whatever, it doesn't matter. Get to a racetrack, join a club, get some advice. I think just if you're a motorsport enthusiast, you're always a motorsport enthusiast. So I think start somewhere, start small, and I think meeting people, you obviously get advice, you get help, and that's how motorsport. That's how we started. I mean, when we raced, the neighbor, we could borrow this from them. We could, garage next door. That actually it was entertaining. Now, I actually stopped racing because it got too expensive, like you mentioned earlier. And I don't think it must get to that. You must get into a series that you're comfortable with and just stay there and enjoy it. I wouldn't advise chasing after time and chasing after time and chasing after time, because then your racing comes to an end.
Absolutely. Ashlyn?
Look, we pretty much all share the same sentiments here, so I'm not going to repeat what my dad and Viven said. What I'm going to do instead, are we closing? Soon, can I use this minute for something else?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but we've just prepared a small collage. I did a small collage, and this was, I think I had done it. This is just basically touching on the family's motorsport. I won't even call this history. There's only a few years of it. I tried to group them. You got Port Elizabeth in the top corner. You got a bit of Gymkhana on this side. There's some rallying at the bottom. You'll see the likes of Warren Kohler and Isken there. Alp Isken. There's Werner Kokemoer and Kwesi Swanepoel. We sponsored them as well. This was just before 8. These were a couple of pics that were just laying on the table, and I said, let's just put it together so we can just share this.
Brilliant. Absolutely awesome. And you know what? Just remember that in the old days, we didn't have this technology. This show is on the internet forever. So you can go back, go to the page, to the YouTube channel, and you can go and watch the show over and over and over and over again. And this is the idea, because history is very important, because we learn a lot from history. So, absolutely brilliant. Rishay, I want to just come to you quickly. You have done, quite a bit of racing, but the last time you raced was at our Gymkhana on the 13th of March. So, am I correct in saying that if youngsters want to get involved on a budget, then the Gymkhana would be a good idea, because it doesn't cost you a lot of money, and if you want to progress from there to another a form of motorsport that would be a good idea. What was just your Ashfaq Dawood, how about family competition? The Moodleys versus the Marutkas and the Levies. I'm up for the challenge. I got no issue with that.
Anybody got contacts at the rental agencies? We need 3 Corollas, please.
Oh my word. You know what? This is gonna be an awesome. My mind's working overtime. Anyhow, coming back to Rishay. Rishay, so you drove the last Gymkhana. Just give us your views on the last Gymkhana, on the Gymkhanas, and would it be a good way for youngsters to get involved? Not necessarily even driving, maybe from a navigation perspective or from just being part of the team or being part of the crew. What is your take on that?
So I think, yeah, I'll obviously echo everything that my brothers and my dad said. But if anyone thinks motorsport, it's very frightening. It's a very expensive sport to get involved in. It's not like joining a soccer club and going to go play soccer, for example. So if somebody wants to get involved in motorsport, the first thing that they think of is, I can't afford a car, I can't afford to maintain my car, I can't afford tires, entry fee, fuel. It adds up. Before you know it, the race day is costing you like 5,000 Rand. So I think before even starting to drive, I think you just need to get involved with the sport. Besides even navigating, you need to be there, join a team, like my dad said, join a club, be involved with a team. There's often when I used to go to the track and none of the family members were driving, and I'd just get involved with whoever I knew there. And the only reason I did the Gymkhana on the 13th of April, the last one, is because you phoned me for the first one of the year and you invited me to come watch that first Gymkhana at Killarney. And I mean, my card was standing for nearly 3 years, I think. And you invited me to come, and I knew a couple of competitors, and I joined Emil. And before you knew it, I was part of Emil's pit crew. I was even navigating for him later in the day. It's just about getting involved and taking that first step just to join a team, a family, someone who's actually committed to the sport, and then taking it from there. The cost factor can come afterwards. Once the passion is there, the cost factor doesn't really need to play that much of a part. That's just from my side for a youngster. It's very difficult, like my dad said, to get like factory sponsorships and massive sponsorship to go far. But yeah, once the passion is there, everything else will follow. And I think that's what happened in our family.
Absolutely. Just on the last comment I saw there, the answer is yes to the Golf 6 GTI.
Is somebody offering the car? We'll take it. Is somebody offering the car?
The only problem, the owner of the Golf 6 GTI might not know what to do with it. I'm just joking.
Because Gymkhana, Byron, talk about the Gymkhana in 2 minutes quickly. Why we have Gymkhanas, what cars are allowed to come and drive there. So, give guys an idea of what they can come and drive with.
Everything can come. All comers. Yes, I know we try and keep it, I guess, now to a limit, as the first come, first serve. But road cars, track cars, you name it, rally cars, all cars can come and do Gymkhana. Doesn't matter. There's no restrictions at all. And that's what makes it a great open formula. What happens is that the regulations aren't too tight. There's no politics. We try and keep politics out of it. And what happens is it's an ideal place to start with any racing, in my mind.
Well, basically, as far as the politics are concerned, if you're a politician, you can join one of the political clubs, but not the Gymkhana. So go and do something else. We don't want you there. I mean, very honest, because it's all about having fun. That's the bottom line. So just in closing, Byron, I want to just thank each and every one, and especially the Moodley family. You know what? 1 hour was not enough. 1.25 hours was not enough. 1.5 hours was not enough. We need a show just for Uncle Salvan. One whole show for Uncle Salvan. That's how we're going to do it. Because there's so many stories and memories, and there's so many things. We just kind of touched the surface tonight. So in future, we're definitely going to bring you on the show without the sons, just you and maybe Mrs. and come and talk about a little bit about, the other things we haven't been speaking about. So I just want to thank each and everyone for being on the show tonight, all the viewers that gave up their time. Byron, thank you for all the background. Viven in the background there. Whoever made this possible. And we'll see you guys on the 15th of May. And the viewers, you know what? Just share the love. Share the love of motorsport. Subscribe to the channel. You know, there's some very interesting shows coming up in the future, and some really interesting information as well. So thank you once again, each and everybody, for being on the show, for making the time to actually be there tonight. And we wish you all the best for the future. And to all our Muslim viewers, the month of Ramadan is coming up. I hope you guys have an absolute, well, I hope us guys have an absolutely beautiful fast. And the 15th of May is 2 days or 3 days after Eid. So you believe me, for the whole of the Ramadan, yes, we got to do what we got to do, but I'm going to get my car sorted out in the month that I got available now. So it's going to be quite exciting, and I'm excited to see the other two Moodley brothers back there, and hopefully, Uncle Salvan, we will organize something on that day for you as well. We're going to speak to Rishay. Maybe you can drive that BMW, and show him how to drive that BMW.
I'm looking forward to that. I also want to commend our Cape Town rally clubs. You know, the members, we have some dynamic members in all the rally clubs. And we all became so like family, whether it's CC or Witzenberg. If you want to know old stories, I think Patrick Kumar.
Yeah.
He comes from those years, and he's also been very good and instrumental in keeping rallying going, and compliments to all the ralliers in the Western Cape for keeping this sport going, and we commend you.
Absolutely. And just as a matter of interest, Uncle Salvan, Patrick and myself, myself and Byron do a show every alternate Wednesday, and the other Wednesday, Patrick and Clint Lingerveld does the show, and they focus on the history of, you know, more on the history and stuff. So they have got some really interesting guests on the show in the next couple of weeks, and we focus on a couple of other eccentric stuff, like one of the Moodley brothers said that we do a couple of, myself and Byron, we do a couple of crazy things, but that's what it's about. You know, there's place for everybody. And well, thanks once again to everybody, and we'll see you guys on the 15th of May. And I think Patrick's having a show next week. I think next week and Wednesday.
I think so.
Yes.
I'll hear soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you once again. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, the Moodley family. We'll catch you guys soon. All the best. And say thanks to Mrs. Moodley as well for being on the show tonight.
She's my sleeping partner.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.